Why is it that suffering seems to seek us out even when we've done our best to avoid it? Could it be that we're more responsible for our own hardships than we'd like to admit? Consider the tale of a man named Joseph. Joseph was a hard worker, the kind of guy who would give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. He lived his life in service to others, always ready to lend a hand. But despite his seemingly altruistic actions, Joseph was a deeply unhappy man. His days were filled with complaints about his boss, his neighbors, his health, and just about everything else under the sun. He was always the victim, the one being wronged. He saw suffering as something that was inflicted upon him by the world, never once considering that he might be playing a part in his own unhappiness. One day, Joseph met a wise old woman who told him something that changed his life forever. She said, "Joseph, you are not responsible for the suffering of others. You are the only person responsible for your own suffering." Joseph was taken aback. How could this be? He was always helping others, always doing the right thing. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized the truth in her words. The suffering he experienced was not due to the actions of others, but to his own reactions. He allowed his boss's harsh words to get under his skin. He let his neighbor's loud music ruin his peace. He let his health problems define him. In essence, Joseph was the architect of his own suffering, so he decided to make a change. Instead of blaming others for his problems, he took responsibility for his reactions. He started to build a strong defensive wall around himself, not to keep others out, but to keep his inner peace in. He learned to let go of the things he couldn't control and focus on the things he could. And slowly but surely, Joseph found happiness. The story of Joseph illustrates a profound truth about personal responsibility and suffering. We are not responsible for the suffering of others, but we are the only ones responsible for our own. It's a hard pill to swallow, but once we understand this, we can start to build a strong defensive wall to protect ourselves. The suffering we experience is often a result of our own reactions to external events. We allow others' actions to affect us, to disrupt our inner peace. But by taking responsibility for our reactions, we can control our suffering. We can choose not to let external events dictate our happiness. In conclusion, suffering is not something that is inflicted upon us by the world. It is a result of our own reactions. By taking responsibility for our suffering, we can build a strong defensive wall to protect our inner peace. We can learn to let go of the things we can't control and focus on the things we can. And in doing so, we can find happiness, just like Joseph. Remember, the key to happiness lies not in avoiding suffering, but in taking responsibility for it. It's not an easy journey, but it's one that's worth taking. After all, the only person responsible for your suffering is you.